Yeah, peace family. So I'm about to do the knowledge on this one. You know, a few days ago, this has been taking the internet by storm. You know, you've seen private videos, Snapchats, and things of that nature being leaked with, alleged white women, and definitely white women because we've seen some of the videos speaking on how they feel about black males. So what I'm gonna do is a little reaction video, then I'm gonna get into my thoughts on this. So let's check this out and see some of the messages that have been going around.
So the first one is, F with a black guy, even date for a bit, but never marry. Another girl responds and says, oh my God, same, I don't see the appeal. Another girl responds and says, black guys would do anything to be with a white girl, kind of pathetic. Another girl responds and says, you don't understand, oh my God. Another girl then responds and says, explain, they don't have any appeal. In fact, they are latest, good looking. I don't know what she's talking about. Now for my ass off, ask a white guy to come over at 3 a.m. He'll say no. Now ask a black guy to come over and he'll be there in a heartbeat. Another girl responds and says, black men would go above and beyond to please you. Because being with a white woman is a dream come true.
Wow.
Basically, they're easy. If I tell a black boy I want to be in his mouth, he will let me. No way with a white guy. Black guys have low self-esteem and levels. Isn't that using them? So they're kind of like puppets. Sounds like they're puppets. It's not like they are not using us too. It's a mutual user. Another girl responding said, fair enough, but they're not my type. Guys, don't they smell though? After sex, don't they get sweaty? It's fine.
Yeah, so there we go. Just a few excerpts. I'm gonna get them put up on the screen too, so y'all can read it at the same time. Um, Shocking, but I guess not too shocking. You know, growing up in the UK, and not just in the UK, I guess this is a mentality that's seen from a lot of people around the world. But growing up in the UK, it's definitely one that's seen in a highly proportionate, highly dominant European slash white slash Caucasian area. So let's get into this real quick. I think this is something that people definitely needed to hear because I think there's a lot of people out there who have this misconception thinking that these women of other races, primarily white women, like and respect them. Now, I'll say for myself, growing up, there was always the identification that, white girls were easy, so to speak. I remember the days, to be honest, when it would have been a taboo to even be seen to publicly speak with a white girl. Now, you may have wanted one for to be doing certain things with that you knew was kind of wrong. So it's like, to me, it's kind of a trip because it's like people kind of knew how things were before, but now everything sort of changed where people have started really trying to chase a lot of these women from other nations who don't really respect them or don't see them as anything more than a sex toy, as others have alluded to. I mean, myself, I've been in my last relationship. I was actually with a girl. She was from the Pakistani community, and she was, begging for me to, marry her and all this sort of stuff. But I knew her family didn't respect me. I knew even the respect that she was saying she had for me, as much as it seemed cool, it was like there was something that didn't really add up. She tried to insinuate like I was some type of issue, but then the very next breath, hop into bed with another black dude who will marry her. And some of these guys are simps, and they will do that because they think they're gonna get something, a little honor, a little value, a little respect. Even going back to these Snapchat with these white women there, imagine the stuff that they are there saying. And at the end of the day, that's their opinion. It don't make it right. And it definitely I could sit here and point out what's wrong about it, but that ain't necessarily for me to do. I think a lot of our people gotta wake up and smell the coffee and understand what's going on around them. That's not for me to say they can't mix. We know we live in 2020 right now. The world's seeing all sorts of craziness. Even where we're at now, it's just funny with me because we live in these times where everybody's always talking about how people are supposed to be, together and or unified. But we know it's a lie. I mean, we may see examples of, I guess, some people in relationships where they're showing that kind of unity and togetherness. But I know you ain't holistically going to change the whole world, but for where we're sitting and seeing things, especially from England, can we see things changing? Are these the mentalities and the mindsets of people? I always say it's not about the person you're with, it's about the strand that they come from and stuff. Because, you go on these people's social medias and stuff and you scroll their friendship groups, you scroll their family, for the most part, you're just going to see people that look like them. And that's because, for the most part, they can only produce people that look like them unless they come out of that mixing group and mix with somebody outside. Now, even to mention myself, I was with a Pakistani chick and she was cool in one degree, but she made my life damn near hell with all the stress that you got to catch, dealing with their family and all sorts of, I ain't one of those people that is going to be down to bow to people, to anybody, I only bow to the Most High God, and I ain't bowing to nobody who I know don't really respect black men. They only respect what they can get from you a lot of the time. So whether that's for their status, or whether that's a social thing, or whether that's just physical, spiritual, on those kind of levels. Now, I don't want to put them in the same category, put all women in the same category like or women of other nationalities, but it appears that there's a lot of this that happens when it comes to the black man. I didn't grow up in the UK, traveled other places, the States, everywhere and that in between, and it's like, for a lot of the times, it's still that way where I see it doesn't matter whether it's somebody from, Italian, European, no matter what sort of background and stuff they come from, for the most part, it's deemed as an issue, especially for the women, if they're, entering certain relationships with a black man. Now, one of the things, my whole things with it is, which it always comes down to, it's like the whole cultural assimilation. Because for the most parts, as a black person or black man, you're expected to either have no culture, subdue your culture, weaken your culture to suit theirs. For instance, they don't want you to be the true you, or don't want you to be you. They want you to be a you that's safe and comfortable to them. So, I don't think that shit right in the slightest. I don't really think that stuff's right. So much drama from these people. Hold up, let me pause this real quick. Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, man. That's why a lot of this interracial stuff kind of bug me out or kind of scare me, because I know we ain't supposed to go by a few examples and let that sway or smear our vision of how we see things and how we see others. However, sometimes we gotta look at these patterns, man, and see what's the big issue. Even myself, I've been in environments where you're the one black person and you're around a lot of people from different nations, and it's always awkward, I guess, even for their people, if they're gonna be the one that's gonna be, who's gonna be the one that's gonna be with the black man, or who's gonna be the one that gonna entertain the black man, and then go back to their friends, go back to their family, and that's a certain type of way. So sometimes I always think about shit, the type of conversations people have behind closed doors when they're amongst their own people and stuff like that. I really think, I ain't saying, oh yeah, we gotta just stick to our own and not go for any of their people, but this, because at the same time, there's a lot of issues between the black man and the black woman too, and even women who are like black women. So there ain't nothing perfect. Who knows some of the ish that they be saying, and I guess if there's some real loving couples out there from the interracial thing, then that's cool too. But this kind of stuff, it just lets people know, I guess, those who aren't really aware or who are blind to certain things or don't really pay that type of attention. It lets them know some of the thoughts and feelings of people out there, and just 'cause I think there's a lot of guys out there, especially black guys, who think they can get any woman. They think all these women from all these other races are into them and dig them, when the fact is they don't really respect us a lot of the time for nothing more than what they can get, what they can use us for. Even the girl I was with, she was from a different nationality. I think her parents were like cousins and stuff. And she just really wanted to get out of that culture and wanted to get out of, being the same as her people. She would have probably loved to have a kid, and that kid to be different, because she can't produce that with her people. She just gonna get the same genealogy and get the same, continuation of mindset and everything. So, some of them, they kind of know what they're doing, and some of them, they do that. They breed with a black person, they end up having a child, and then you know, that could be white or, you know, any other races. Not a lot of the times they stay together. Now, I ain't saying it like I'm judging, because I damn near got family with loads of different mixes and all mixes, you know, so we treat them the same and we treat them cool. But when we look at the dichotomy and the wider aspects of a lot of these things, it's often what we see. You know, I know a lot of women, you know, white women that have been in relationships, bad relationships or whatever, you know, they love the guy. Sometimes it's just the fact that the guy was black, they wanted him, you know, they ended up having a child, which now they got a, you know, a mixed child or a black child, and, you know, they can parade their child around, and it gives them a different level in society to an extent. And, you know, and then you get some with like the Asian cultures, like the Muslims, the Pakistanis. I done seen some. They go, they breed with a black person, and it may not work out, and they end up with a child back moving in around them and their family, and growing up around their culture and having that kind of understanding. So I've seen this stuff from so many different levels, and I think, you know, the black man got to find his own self-worth and respect. And one thing, like the women said in that thing was, and I've touched on another podcast in the past, just the aspect of low self-respect or low self-esteem that pervades the psyche of black people, especially since, you know, slavery and certain things of that nature. But how other people play on that. And, you know, especially a lot of these women from other nations as well, the ones that know what they're doing. As you see in them chats, they said, oh, ain't we using each other? You know, they have that deceptive intelligence where they be playing you out, man. So people have got to really find themselves, get in tune with themselves, understand, black man, that you the prize, really, regardless of how they try and pitch it. You know, you the prize, you got something ain't nobody else got, and you got something that they want, and you got to flaunt that in the right way, you know, but don't give it up too easy to these folks, and don't lose your spirit, don't lose your principles, don't lose your honor in the mix. I know it's testing. Now, another thing, you know, people do go for a lot of these women from other nations because they're easier, because they would do more freaky stuff, because, you know, a lot of things like that. Let's keep it 100. Now, in terms about that broad saying about, you know, that's crazy. She said she asked a black guy to pee in his mouth or something and he gonna do it. I'm like, yuck, yikes. But, you know, maybe that's an experience of some of the dudes or whatever she done been with. But that goes to show you, imagine the mentality of saying that. I remember I was with the Asian broad I was with, and she used to try and push for certain things. And I ain't talking sexually, I'm talking just in general, like in a relationship and an attitude. And I always used to be like, same thing, you pushing to be with a black man. But if you was with one of your own people, I guarantee you wouldn't be pushing them in a certain type of way, because the way that they generally treat their women, and I know that sounds like a massive generalization, but just from my observations and my knowledge, you know, you wouldn't be going for none of that, because, you know, for instance, she was Muslim, her own kind of culture or nation of people, they would have had her in the scarf, they would have had her up in the house at certain types of things, you know, she wouldn't be able to talk back certain type of ways, you know. So I think it's crazy when it comes to us, they see us as like an easy route or an escape route sometimes. So we got to keep our minds open. That's why, to me, you know, peace to Jordan Peele, one of the greatest movies I've seen over the past few generations and years has got to be Get Out. And I'm going to leave it on that note. So all you folks out there, man, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your feelings. Peace.